Hi everyone, today I want to show you this rechargeable USB fan from iWata. Now I don't know about other countries, but iWata is a well-known, well-respected brand here in the Philippines. Now this has an 18650 battery in the back, just like pretty much all of these rechargeable fans. Now this only has one battery, and although they sell it or advertise it online as having a 2200 milliamp hour battery, the fan battery itself and the box that it comes in says 2000 milliamp hour. So it seems like they do need to update their advertising, but it's not a huge deal. So how long can this thing run for? Well, I ran this on its lowest setting, and you'll be quite surprised, I think, for how long this ran for. 11 hours 8 minutes on its lowest setting. That is pretty incredible. 11 hours 8 minutes. Now inside the box you get the fan itself, of course, and you get a USB cable. Now this USB cable is a little bit longer than most of the ones that come with these rechargeable fans, and the quality seems okay. It's not a super high quality cable, but it's not the worst I've seen. It's kind of in the middle. It's good enough, and it's got a good length on it. Now one of the things I like about this fan is not only do you have the control for the speed, but you also have a separate light for the LED. That's better than some of the other ones where you have to press the speed button like multiple times before you get to the light, and you can't have the light on at the same time as having the fan on, whereas this one I can put the light on like that and I can run the fan at the same time. Now you might be thinking, wow, that's only a 2000 milliamp hour battery and yet it ran for 11 hours, over 11 hours. How is that possible? Well, on its lowest setting it only consumes around 700 milliwatts, and I'm going to show you that in a moment, but that's why it can run for so long. It consumes so little power. So I know what you're thinking, well, that just means it's not spinning very fast and it's not generating much wind, but actually that's not true. I did some tests. Now I could make a whole video about this, but I think it'd be totally boring. The PCB in this is around 10 to 15% more efficient than the ones I've seen in other USB fans. It's really a minute detail, but it's something to mention. Look at this fan blade design in here. It's got a big blade, hopefully you can see this on camera, then it's got a small blade, then a big blade, then a small blade, and I don't know if it's that or what it is, but they've got a really good airflow even while consuming so little power. And I spent, I don't know, maybe an hour or two putting multiple fans side by side, trying to assess the wind, putting pieces of string here, trying to fill up bags of air, and I just couldn't, I don't know a good way of measuring airflow. If anyone knows without buying like specialist equipment, what's a good way that I can put two fans side by side and kind of measure the capacity of airflow, like how much air it's moving, because that would be very interesting. But when I put them side by side, even with a fan which was consuming nearly double the power, this still seemed pretty much on par. So I don't know what they've done, but somehow they're producing really good airflow without consuming much power. Let's take the battery out and use my USB watt meter so you can see exactly how much power is consumed on each mode. So we've got the watt meter here, and you can see there's no battery inside the fan. Let's put it onto the first setting, and you can see that's drawing around 0.14 amp or 730 milliwatt. Let's go to setting 2. That's drawing 0.3 amp or 1.5 watts. Now let's go to the highest setting on the fan, and that's drawing 0.58 amp or 2.8 watts. And it's a little bit noisy, but nowhere near as noisy as some other fans that I've got, although it also doesn't match the top speed of some of my other fans, but setting 1 and 2 are pretty similar. Now you won't be able to see this on the camera, but when the battery is low, what it does is it flashes these 3 LEDs very, very faintly. It just flashes on, off, on, off, and that basically lets you know that the batteries are low and that you should, recharge it as soon as possible. So let me show you how much current it consumes while charging. So hopefully you can see this on the camera. It's consuming 0.9 amp or 4.46 watts. Now that's really good because that's basically drawing 1 amp, which is a pretty good rate to charge this battery at. Some of the cheaper fans only charge it at like half an amp or even less, which means it takes a really long time to recharge the battery. At least this charges at 1 amp. Now here's something that's interesting. A lot of people that have these USB fans are worried about overcharging the batteries or about the whole thing catching on fire or something like that. So when they're running it from the wall, or if they're running from a power bank for a long time, what they normally do is take out the battery and just run it from USB, and this one can do that just fine. But this one actually has an interesting safety feature. If I put the battery in and show you the watt meter, you'll see that it's currently drawing around 4 watts. It's climbing a little bit. Now if I start the fan, you might be able to see, hopefully on camera, it dropped to 700 milliwatt, because when you run the fan, even if you've got it connected to a USB power supply, whether it's from the wall or from a power bank, it will stop charging the battery and only consume enough power to run the fan. It's like a safety feature. It won't charge the battery at the same time. So it's essentially like taking the battery out, but you haven't got the hassle of having to actually take it out. Now, personally, I like to charge my fan and use it at the same time. So for me, this feature would actually be a little bit annoying, because I want my battery to charge even if I'm using the fan at the same time. But for a lot of people, this will be a safety feature that they will really like. So I'm sure many of you are wondering, how much does it cost? Well, it's 385 pesos, which is nearly double the price of the other generic USB fans out there. So is it worth double the money? Well, let me start by saying this was sent to me for review. I didn't buy this. This is a review unit. But putting that aside, yes and no. Is it worth it? Well, first of all, what are you paying extra for? You're paying for the brand name. iWata is a respected brand, and they give you a 1-year warranty. If something goes wrong in that year, you can take it back to them, send it back to them, whatever, and you're covered. And you're paying for the safety, because we've all seen those, horror stories on Facebook or on Twitter where someone's bought like a generic no-name rechargeable fan, like really dirt cheap, and then they've been charging it and it's like short-circuited and it's caught on fire or something like that. So you're paying for quality, you're paying for the brand, you're paying for the warranty. Is it worth it? Well, that's up to you. Personally, I think it's a really nice fan. It has such a good airflow considering how little power it consumes. I really don't understand how they've done it, but it's some kind of magic almost. It really produces a lot of wind or airflow, and it doesn't consume much power, which means it can run for 11 hours on this single battery. That in itself is pretty incredible, because some of the cheaper ones that you get, people tell me they only run for like 2 hours or 3 hours. This is 11 hours. Okay, that's on the lowest setting, but 11 hours. So you're getting, a good quality, high capacity battery. You pay for what you get, basically. Is it a little bit more expensive? Yes. Is it worth the money? For a lot of people, yes, probably is. So if you have any questions, put them in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.